Welcome to my latest case, Secret of the Scarlet Hand. To start playing, choose either Junior or Senior Detective. If you're new to adventure games or need some help, choose Tutorial. Dear Dad, greetings from the new Deputy Curator at Beech Hill Museum in Washington, D.C. I miss you, by the way. How's Africa? I sure hope this letter reaches you in Ouagadougou before you move on to Nairobi. So I got the internship. Your old friend Franklin Rose was awfully nice to submit my name to the rest of the members of the museum's board of directors. What an opportunity while I'm in between cases. As you probably know, the museum specializes in ancient Maya culture. My supervisor is going to be Joanna Riggs, a well-known archaeologist. Maybe you've seen her name in the news recently, in conjunction with the discovery of a strange Maya monolith. Apparently, it's created quite a buzz among experts in the field. Well, Beech Hill plans to feature the monolith in an upcoming exhibition. Just imagine, this artifact has been buried for hundreds of years, and now it's going to be unveiled to the public for the first time. The museum is short-staffed at the moment, and they're expecting such a huge turnout that they've closed their doors to prepare. I can hardly wait to dig into this exciting project and learn how archaeologists and historians solve the mysteries of ancient cultures. I'll keep you posted. Love, Nancy.
Nancy Drew, I presume. I'm Joanna Riggs. Welcome to Beech Hill. I was just checking the lock on this display case. This is one of the museum's most treasured pieces, a carving of King Pacal.
Who is King Pacal?
Pacal assumed the throne at age 12. Can you imagine? That was 615 A.D. He ruled for 68 years at the height of the Maya civilization.
Is that jade?
Yes, the Maya loved jade and used it for many of their carvings. There isn't another piece like this in the world, and it's priceless, which means I practically had to sell my own grandmother to get it.
How did the museum acquire it?
Leave it to Taylor Sinclair. He's a wizard when it comes to these deals. You'll meet him later. Now then, Nancy, you're coming on board at a critical time for Beech Hill. An exhibit of this caliber is not kid stuff. Franklin Rose assures me you're a real trooper, and I hope he's right because I'm not here to babysit. I don't care who your father is.
I'm glad to be here. Please, tell me more about the exhibit.
In addition to our permanent collection, we're borrowing rare pieces from museums and private collectors around the world. Soon we'll be sitting on the most fabulous collection of Maya artifacts ever assembled in one place. And now that we've scored the monolith, too, Beech Hill sera numero uno.
This monolith, it's an important discovery?
Yes, a hot young team of archaeologists, Americans and Mexicans both, dug it out of a cave near Palenque. Every curator from here to Siberia was trying to get a hold of it, but I'm the one who closed the deal.
What does this monolith look like?
It's a massive pillar of stone, nearly 1,500 years old, with Maya glyphs carved into it. We've installed it in the garden. Wait until you see it.
How do you know it's 1,500 years old?
According to Henrik, the monolith was made at the special request of King Pacal himself, but we don't know what its purpose was.
Who's Henrik?
Henrik Vanderheun, world-renowned expert in Maya hieroglyphics. He's the latest addition to the Beech Hill Brain Trust. I told him I don't even want to see his pointy Vander head till he's got a translation on that monolith.
Pointy Vander head? Where was he working before?
At the Chaco Canyon Cultural Center in New Mexico. Anyway, there's a list of tasks for you in the lab. Once you've knocked those off, we'll regroup.
Shouldn't I have more training?
Don't worry, you'll be in the swing of things soon enough. Go ahead and take a look around the museum. I'm sure you'll find the monolith muy interesante. Or just roll up your sleeves and hit the lab.
Any last advice before I get down to business?
Semper ubi sub ubi.
Topeka Commission for the Arts. How cultured.
are the tasks coming along?
I haven't seen the list yet.
Well, get cracking. The last deputy curator was like a tempest in a teapot around here. Caused me nothing but grief.
Who was this so-called Tempest?
I'll tell you about Sonny some other time.
I've got work to do.
Bye!
The knob is missing. Topeka Commission for the Arts. That's the organization Prudence Rutherford works for.
You have no voicemail. Press...
Silvio's Curatorial Bonanza.
Are you still having a sale on packing supplies?
That's right, 30% off on bubble wrap, foam peanuts, heavy-duty tape, medium and large boxes, sticky labels, and why supplies last, of course. Have you ordered from us before?
Yes, I think so. We have an account number.
Okay, good. That saves me a lot of paperwork. What's the account number?
BH119K.
BH119... BH119K? Beech Hill? Are you serious?
You sound surprised. I guess you were expecting Sunny June?
I was expecting Beech Hill to settle its accounts with me about 6 months ago. I've sent all 6 of the outstanding invoices to a collection agency. And you jokers won't get another packing peanut out of Silvio Jr. ever. Do not call here again.
You must be Nancy, the new deputy curator. I'm Henrik Vanderheun.
Pleased to meet you. What are you working on?
Just some light housekeeping.
Huh? Housekeeping?
Keeping artifacts clean is an important aspect of preserving them. Anyway, what can I do for you?
Did you know the deputy curator who was here before me?
Hurricane Sunny? I'm afraid I did. If he wasn't losing paperwork or setting off the fire alarm, he was cornering our visitors with his theory that the Maya were abducted by aliens. I'm afraid you'll be cleaning up his messes for a while.
I'm not sure how to go about rearranging those exhibit narrations.
It's really quite simple. Check out the Convermatic auto-narrator in shipping and receiving. You'll need some headphones. First determine which of the exhibits in the main hall could rightly be called Exhibit A. Change Exhibit A's narration number until you're seeing what you're hearing, or hearing what you're seeing, and it's all downhill from there.
I'm supposed to order more packing supplies, but the company says they won't do business with us anymore. Does Beech Hill have bills it can't pay?
No comment.
But Henrik, how am I supposed to get this order taken care of?
I hereby absolve you of that task. If Joanna wants things shipped, she can stuff them into garbage bags for all I care.
I'm curious about your work. How do you go about translating a glyph anyway?
It can be a complicated process, involving research, piecing lots of different elements together, and a healthy dose of guesswork.
So there isn't a definitive dictionary of Maya glyphs where you can look things up?
Oh, I'm afraid not. You see, glyphs are so intricate and full of subtleties that multiple meanings may be embedded in a single glyph. So 3 distinct-looking glyphs may all translate to mean sunshine, roughly, but with different nuances. There is so much we still don't know. Lucky for me, I guess, or I'd be out of a job.
What is the SpectroX Archeo analyzer for?
It's used for identifying chemical compounds that are found on artifacts, traces of ink, blood, charcoal, and other substances. The beauty of the machine is that it can collect these traces without damaging the artifact in any way. But it cost us a fortune, so don't fiddle with it unless you get Joanna's permission.
Joanna turned me loose without too many instructions. Do you have any advice for me?
Well, as you've probably heard, the museum is closed in preparation for the exhibit, so you'll have free run of the place. Please explore. The sooner you get to know your way around, the better. Think of the lab as your home base, your center of communications. Anyone who wants to get in touch with you will leave a note or a voicemail here, so check in often. I'm very busy with my work, so you're going to have to be pretty independent, but I suspect you wouldn't have it any other way.
See you around, Henrik.
I suspect you will.
It looks like some pieces are missing.
How may I help you?
Hi, I'm Nancy Drew, the new deputy curator over at Beech Hill.
So, you're Joanna Riggs' newest pirate in training. How does it feel to join the ranks with the modern-day conquistadors?
I beg your pardon, but how does a deputy curator become a pirate in your book?
You had better brush up on your history, young lady. When the Spanish explorers invaded Mexico, they became known as the conquistadors, or conquerors. They robbed the indigenous peoples of their wealth, not just their gold, but their artwork, their sacred objects. Anything they did not steal, they burned to the ground.
Alejandro, I understand that many crimes were committed in the name of exploration, but that was hundreds of years ago. What does this have to do with Beech Hill?
There is more. In the 19th century, archaeologists discovered the ruins of ancient civilizations predating even the Aztecs. Many of the dig sites were robbed, and the stolen artifacts were sold off to art museums and collectors around the world. Today, finally, it is illegal among most civilized nations to remove an artifact from its native country. But sadly, there are thousands of precious antiquities with highly questionable provenance floating around the Western world.
But Joanna only wants to display this artwork, to celebrate it, so the public will be able to enjoy it and learn about your people's great talents and achievements.
If the American public wants to see our art, they should come to Mexico.
What do you mean by questionable provenance?
An artifact's provenance is the story of its origin and ownership. For example, how it made its way from a temple at Chichen Itza to a museum in Washington, D.C. If the artifact's provenance reveals that it has been stolen, then that artifact must be returned to the country of its origin.
So the problem has been remedied, hasn't it?
No, not at all. Provenance documents are often tampered with or forged to cover up the theft. Because of this, thefts continue and a great deal of art is moved on the black market even today. Unethical art dealers and greedy museum curators do nothing to stop this.
Are you suggesting Beech Hill is involved in these kinds of misdealings?
If Joanna Riggs or that overstuffed pillowhead Sinclair had any decency, they would take measures to see that all Maya artifacts were returned to Mexico at once where they belong.
And what if these measures are not taken?
My country will have its due, Nancy, even if I have to begin reclaiming its artifacts with my own two hands.
I see. Well, I should probably get going. Here are the changes to the loan agreement for the monolith. I just need your signature, please.
Thank you. I have some business with Joanna at the museum later, so I will return the contract to her then, after I have looked it over.
Are you sure? I don't mind waiting.
You may consider your mission accomplished.
Well, okay then.
Goodbye.
Good thing Franklin gave me the museum key. Just one more tile.
Nancy Drew, or should I say, Detective Drew. I'm Sinclair.
Hi there. I guess you've done your homework.
I was at a meeting with the BOD recently, and I caught wind of your appointment and your credentials. Very impressive, if I do say so myself.
Well, I'm not on a case right now, that's for sure. I'm the new deputy curator, remember?
So, how's this for a specimen? Ever seen $1 million worth of rock before?
Do diamonds count?
Ouch. Well, they did say you were sharp. Seriously, though, thank goodness you're here. I'm afraid the museum may be in terrible jeopardy.
What kind of jeopardy?
Joanna told me to butt out, but I'm so fond of Beech Hill, I just hate to see it fall prey to scoundrels.
Joanna told you to butt out? Of what?
It's a sensitive subject. Meet me in my office later and I'll explain everything then.
You've got me worried. Can't we talk now?
Just meet me later. 707 Bing Cherry Boulevard. I've got to go. Enjoy your first day at Beech Hill.
There, now I can start putting this together. That's done. There, that looks like it's in order.
Archaeologists work in some of the most remote areas of the world. Ham radios are often the only means of contacting the outside world. HAM is an acronym for Handheld Amateur Radio.
Although the geographic range of Maya cities is well known, it is difficult to determine the range of Maya influence. Some experts believe the Maya may have traveled as far south as the Amazon and as far north as North America.
Ceramic bowls, such as the one featured in this exhibit, may have been used as vessels for burnt offerings of incense or corn. This bowl was either dedicated to or used to supplicate the god of war, Balak.
The Maya were pantheistic, believing in many gods who ruled over different aspects of Maya life. Chak was the god of rain. Ixchel, goddess of the moon, presided over childbirth and basket weaving. Ahau Kin represented the sun. Lady Zak Cook ruled Palenque before her son ascended the throne in 615 CE. Maya tradition required that the kingship be handed down from father to son, but Lady Zak Cook broke this custom by establishing herself as a deity. This gave her the power to justify the new royal lineage. Because his mother had been deified, Pacal often referred to himself as the first true king. I am Lord Pacal, ruler of the mighty kingdom of Palenque. All those who come before me witness my power.
Lord Pacal is considered the most influential ruler of the Maya civilization. Cultural, scientific, and military achievement flourished under his reign. As with all Maya kings, very little is known about his personal life, since all written inscriptions dealt solely with public achievements such as wars, battles, coronations, births, marriages, and deaths.
Maya scribes recorded the official history of the kings and queens, but very little is known about daily life in the Maya world. Although there are thousands of inscriptions found on artifacts and architecture, there are only a handful of Maya books in existence today.
The Maya used different methods to represent numbers. Here is an example of the numbers from 0 to 19, from top left to bottom right. Notice how some numbers are represented with bars and dots, and some are represented with pictures. In addition to adorning themselves with jewelry and costumes, the Maya shaped their bodies to heighten their beauty. Beads were dangled in front of infants' faces to encourage crossed eyes, a trait considered attractive to the Maya.
The Maya ball game was a religious activity as well as a spectator sport. Players would propel a rubber ball through a small stone hoop using their thighs, hips, and forearms. It is believed that the players were often sacrificed after a game. The date on this slab uses the Tzolk'in, or divine calendar, made up of 20 weeks each with a named day and 13 weeks each with a numerical day. The two types of weeks progress independently of each other. The four miniature gods clinging to the vision serpent are the headband twins, Hun, Ahau, and Balaam, and the twins of sacrificial dance, Chak, Shib, Chak, and the baby jaguar. The Maya were particularly fascinated with twins, and many of the Maya gods were paired together.
The Maya kings were often in a protracted state of war with local kahals. Here, bird jaguar stands to the right as a captured lord kneels at his feet. The kahal holds a broken umbrella, a gesture typical of a supplicating captive.
Interesting. Looks like this side is missing a part.
Strange, supernatural creatures, sometimes called monsters, played an important role in Maya mythology. These monsters were often associated with the earth, caves, or mountains. The bicephalic monster, sometimes called the celestial or cosmic monster, may have represented the sunrise or a long journey. Ritualized bloodletting was a common practice among the Maya. In this panel, 3 captives wear garments associated with bloodletting. A variety of instruments including stingray spines, thorns, and bone awls were employed for this activity.
It's locked. I need a disc.
It's about time! Oh, my fears are like maggots infesting my poor old carcass. Want a cookie? They're from Oaxaca.
Thanks, but I'm trying to cut back. Now, what's going on?
The art world is being ransacked, Nancy. Prudence Rutherford, a major patron of the arts, had her fire ruby necklace stolen from her villa in Topeka. 2 weeks later, a whole display case full of rare Maya artifacts was heisted from a museum in New Mexico.
Do you think there's a connection between the two thefts?
Who knows? I'm just telling you, this community, our friends and colleagues, my people are being systematically trounced by thugs. Who's to say Beech Hill won't be next? You've got to do something.
Does Joanna share your concerns?
I've urged Joanna to approach the board about making some security upgrades, but she just keeps saying that the timing isn't right to ask for money.
I understand your concern, but what can I do to help?
We need your eagle eyes. We need your bat ears. We need you to sniff out the stink of trouble.
I'll do my best, but it sounds like what you really need is a new breed of police dog.
Don't play modest mouse with me.
Okay, no more flattery. Hey, that's an interesting piece, there by your desk. Something tells me it's not a Maya artifact.
How about that rubber shark? The artist's name is Poppy Dada. She's a teenager in South Dakota. The art world is going bananas over her stuff. I'll unload that one for some serious dinero.
Is Poppy Dada her real name?
I don't know.
Joanna says you performed an act of wizardry in helping Beech Hill acquire the Pacal carving.
Getting those provenance docs together was a pig and a half. Oh, they're on the up and up, I assure you. But to have been at the height of my career back before the crackdown, those were the days.
A pig and a half?
Maybe sometime I'll tell you a sad story I call How Mexico Lost Its Sense of Humor. Not today, though, Nancy.
Alejandro says you're unethical, a modern-day conquistador, that you're robbing Mexico of its cultural history.
And I say Alejandro is the real bully of the playground, a lunch money extortionist who loves nothing more than to see the other boys and girls go hungry.
When you sell a piece of art, what kind of commission do you get?
Standard, 10%. It's no king's ransom, unless of course you sell something for $1 million. Too bad I'm not allowed to put that monolith on the market, huh?
I'd better get going.
Thanks for stopping by.
Buenos dias.
Why did Mexico choose to lend the monolith to Beech Hill and not some other museum?
Johanna Riggs outbid everyone. I had no idea a small museum like Beech Hill could afford such an expensive arrangement.
Do you consider Henrik a conquistador, along with Joanna Riggs and Sinclair?
Henrik is a student of my culture and my heritage, not trying to buy and sell it. We don't agree on everything, especially not baseball, but I have nothing against him.
I should get back to the museum.
Yes, you should.
Come in. How are the tasks coming along?
Why did you become a museum curator?
I became a curator because I want to help make artifacts available to as many people as possible. That's all that matters, isn't it? Unless you're Alejandro Del Rio.
Can you explain how you want me to reorder that Maya numbering exhibit?
Check with Henrik on that.
When did Henrik come on board?
I got an email from him one day saying he heard the news about Beech Hill getting the monolith. He said he'd drop everything to come here and translate those glyphs. He was even willing to take a pay cut. What could I say except giddy up? You're hired.
Do you think Alejandro would go to extreme measures, like stealing, to reclaim Mexico's artifacts?
Who knows?
I've got work to do.
Semper ubi sub ubi.
You have no voicemail.
Boswell, Jackson, and Rose.
May I speak to Franklin Rose, please?
Who may I say is calling?
This is Nancy Drew.
Just a minute, please.
Nancy, great to hear from you. How's the internship treating you? Are Joanna and Henrik showing you the ropes?
So far, so good, I think. There's a lot of work to do before we launch this exhibit, but somehow we'll pull it off.
Glad to hear you're settling in. I'm off to a meeting, but feel free to call me if you have any questions.
I'm sure everything's going to be smooth sailing, Mr. Rose.
Bye, kiddo.
Beech Hill's been hit. Sit tight, Nancy. The police are on their way.
I should talk to Joanna before I touch anything.
Someone has cooked up my worst nightmare and served it to me on a plate.
I'm sorry about the theft, Joanna. It must be a terrible loss for the museum.
That's the understatement of the year.
Did the police find any clues around the display case?
The police took some samples for the crime lab, but they couldn't promise any overnight results. So if you want to put your little magnifying glass up to the scene, it's fine with me.
What were their initial findings?
Who knows? Right now, my priority is to get a move on this insurance claim.
I've got work to do.
Bye!
You have voicemail. Press.
Nancy, hi. It's Franklin Rose. I'm calling because it's just... This theft is very bad news for the museum. You can't imagine the limb we went out on to acquire that Pacal carving. It's been one of the museum's main attractions. I don't want to take you away from your internship, but if you can do a little investigating, well, I think I speak for the whole board when I say we'd be very grateful. Give me a call when you have a chance. And Nancy, thanks.
To replay messages, press 0.
Boswell, Jackson, and Rose, how may I direct your call?
This is Nancy Drew, calling for Franklin Rose, please.
Just a minute, please.
Nancy, hello. Do you have any news?
Not really, but something tells me this case is going to get complicated.
Oh, Nancy, you zero in on a case like a heat-seeking missile, don't you? I feel so much better knowing you're going to follow up on every lead. I'll help in any way I can.
Thanks, Mr. Rose.
That's what I'm here for.
Come in. Need something?
Have you seen Henrik? I found a piece of paper inside the Pacal display case. It had some glyphs on it and a print of a red hand. I'm hoping he can give me a translation.
What am I, fish food? Henrik's not the only one around here who can read a glyph, you know.
Sorry, Joanna. I thought I was supposed to go to Henrik with all my glyph questions.
The police showed me the note. It said, "The magician suffers yellow death," whatever that means. Apparently, the thief just couldn't come up with the glyphs for "the curator suffers flaming purple disgrace."
I'm curious about the red handprint the thief left. Does it have any significance in Maya culture?
Afraid I can't help you there. What I want to know is what the hand was printed with. It's obviously not finger paint. Why don't you do a little analysis on it in the lab?
I haven't seen Henrik since the theft. Where do you think he could be?
Who knows?
Okay, I've got a graph of the chemical used for the handprint. Now I've got to match it up with a known substance. plus stands for sulfur. According to this chart, Hg stands for mercury. So the handprint was made from mercury and sulfur. That looks right.
Come in. Need something?
I did the chemical analysis you suggested. That red hand was printed with a compound containing mercury and sulfur. Does that mean anything to you?
Sure, cinnabar. The Maya would rub it into their most important carvings to add definition to the artist's lines.
Where would a person get a supply of cinnabar?
We use cinnabar here at the museum the same way the Maya did, to keep things as authentic as possible. Henrik orders those kinds of supplies, but we've been out of stock for quite a while. The last I heard, there was some kind of holdup with the distributor.
I've got work to do.
See you around.
It's a fiasco, just as I feared. Oh, I'm sick about the whole thing.
I see you've spoken with Joanna.
I was in the museum when it happened.
Have you spoken to the police?
I told them everything I know. I mean, I coughed up my brains right there on the table.
So, do you think this is linked to the thefts in Topeka and New Mexico?
That awful red hand was left on Prudence Rutherford's jewelry box in Topeka, and on the display case in the museum in New Mexico. What's the chance they're not connected?
Do you know Prudence Rutherford personally?
Oh, we saw each other at functions now and then. Poor Prudence. She adored that necklace.
What's the name of the museum in New Mexico?
The Chaco Canyon Cultural Center. They had a beautiful collection up there, worth a bundle, too. I appraised some pieces for them a few years back.
Why do you think the thief is leaving this red handprint?
To be a gruesome scoundrel?
The Pacal thief's glyph message translates to, "The magician suffers yellow death." What in the world do you think that means?
You've got me there.
I'd better get going.
Bye now.
Hello, Nancy.
Do you know much about Maya glyphs?
You've got me there. I know Spanish, English, Portuguese, and several indigenous languages, including Quiche and Nahuatl, but I have yet to learn the language of glyphs.
Have you heard? The Pacal carving was stolen from the museum.
Well, I heard the alarms going off, but it wasn't until Henry called me that I heard the news.
You don't sound very concerned about all of this.
I was running late. I just figured somebody tripped a wire and I kept going. Whew.
I'll need to alert the police so they can ask you some questions.
I have diplomatic immunity, so I do not have to answer any questions. But I will, because I have nothing to hide.
Don't you care about the disappearance of such a rare Maya artifact?
That artifact was lost to me as soon as it left Mexican soil. So my friend Pacal goes underground for a while until he is sold again. Suddenly, he turns up in Amsterdam or Hong Kong. Unless he is rightfully repatriated to Mexico, what's the difference?
I should get back to the museum.
Yes, you should.
Need something?
Apparently, a Topeka woman named Prudence Rutherford has recently been visited by a red-handed thief, too. Do you have any idea how I might get in touch with her?
Afraid I can't help you there.
I've got work to do.
Bye.
You have no voicemail.
Keep it real. Max speaking.
Hi, I'm the new deputy curator over at Beech Hill Museum. I wonder if you could answer a couple of questions for me about our ordering history.
Well, hello there, Beech Hill. Hey, you're not Sunny June. Whatever happened to that guy? I suppose he caught a ride on a flying saucer, huh? What a riot. I'm sorry. Anyway, you don't need to reorder, do you? Unless you ate last week's shipment for breakfast, that is.
Do you know who placed that order?
The initials on the order are JR.
You're sure it was last week?
Oh, that's what it says here.
Was the package shipped to the museum?
Oh? Oops, I guess we didn't ship it at all. It looks like the package was picked up here at the warehouse.
So there hasn't been a hold-up at the distributor or anything like that?
Hold up. Oh, I don't know where you heard that. We've got enough mercuric sulfide in-house to sink a ship.
Can you remember anything about the person who picked up the package?
I sure can't. Guess I must have been at lunch or something.
Well, thanks for your help.
Sure thing. I hope there wasn't any problem with the stuff, was there? We only used the top-grade mercuric sulfide.
Judging by the impression it left, I'd have to agree that the quality was fine.
Well, you sound a little green in the chemicals department, if you don't mind my saying so. I hope you know that mercuric sulfide is highly toxic. Makes you crazy.
Toxic?
Oh, looks like I've got another call coming in here. You give us a call in about 4 months or so when you start to run out, okie doke? And don't forget to keep it real.
Hello?
Hey, Bess, it's me, Nancy. What's new?
It's pouring rain. George and I are in the middle of a heated game of Go Fish, and I'm winning.
Don't believe a word she says, Nancy. Last hand, I made mincemeat out of her.
Anyway, we don't want to make you homesick. How's the internship going?
Everything was going great until someone broke into a display case and stole one of the museum's most valuable artifacts, a jade carving of King Pacal.
Who was King Pacal?
He's considered one of the great Maya rulers. He reigned at the height of the Maya civilization.
So what happened?
Well, apparently the civilization was never quite the same after he died.
No, silly, with the theft. What happened with the theft?
Who are your suspects?
Do you have any clues?
Easy, ladies. Let's just say that so far, I have more questions than I do answers. But don't worry, I'm on the case.
There goes your low-key internship.
Honestly, Nancy, it never will cease to amaze me how one girl can cross paths with so much trouble.
I don't know what to make of Alejandro Del Rio, the attaché to the Mexican consulate.
What's his connection to Beech Hill?
Right now, he's negotiating the monolith loan agreement between Mexico and the museum.
And what's your confusion? Something to do with dashing good looks, I hope.
Well, he is a little bit handsome, but he also seems very angry about all the Mexican antiquities his country has lost over the years.
How have they been lost?
They've been taken by explorers and archaeologists and smugglers. I guess the laws have only recently changed to protect Mexico's rights to its own antiquities.
Well, it sounds like he has a legitimate gripe.
Yes, but I got the feeling he would do just about anything to get an artifact returned to Mexico.
What do you mean, anything?
That's what I'm not sure of.
Well, let's hope he's just a big talker and not a bona fide vigilante.
Have you seen anything in the papers about Beech Hill getting the deal with Mexico to display the Palenque monolith?
The who?
The monolith. It's a giant block of stone recently excavated from a cave near Palenque in Mexico. Apparently it's a very big deal. They think it's 1,500 years old.
So, have you seen it? This, monolith?
Yeah, it's humongous. Must weigh a ton.
Like how big? As big as a refrigerator?
Maybe Bigfoot's refrigerator.
Sorry, Nancy, but how would a person tell this monolith apart from, say, some other big rock?
Well, for one thing, it has Maya glyphs carved into it.
Glyphs?
Pictures that represent words or ideas, also known as logographs. Joanna says the glyphs might be a message from King Pacal.
What kind of message?
We don't know yet. Henrik Vanderheun, Beech Hill's epigrapher, is working on a translation. Ever since the theft, I haven't been able to find Henrik anywhere.
That's odd. Has anyone else seen him?
If they have, they sure aren't telling me.
Nancy, do you think he's the thief?
I can't imagine that.
Maybe he's just an accomplice. Maybe he loosened security somehow to make the thief's job easier.
It's possible, but Henrik seems to care so much about his work. Why would he want to hurt the museum?
Maybe he cares a little too much.
She's right, Nancy. I'd give him the 3rd degree if I were you. Whenever he shows up again, that is.
Taylor Sinclair and Alejandro Del Rio have both earned a place on my suspect list.
Why?
Both admitted to being in the building at the time when the alarm went off.
Did they act defensive about it?
Not really. They both act as though they have nothing to hide.
Do you think they could be working together?
Judging by Alejandro's opinion of Taylor, I highly doubt it. But then again, stranger things have happened.
Yeah, like in the 10th grade when Bess turned purple in the middle of her class presentation on greenhouse gases.
George, would you kindly put a sock in it?
Somehow, Joanna has gotten the museum into some financial hot water.
How'd she do that?
Yeah, and how hot's the water?
It's all very vague. I want to give her the benefit of the doubt. I mean, maybe she just overextended the budget a little in her effort to acquire the best artifacts for the museum, but
even if her intentions were good,
she may be feeling a little desperate to make some money back quickly.
Desperate enough to steal the Pacal carving, sell it on the black market, and collect the insurance on it too?
I know she loves the museum. Who knows what she'd do if she were afraid of losing her job?
She's a suspect.
Definitely a suspect.
Why would the thief keep leaving that awful red handprint at every crime scene?
Talk about a creepy trademark.
Oh, I'm just glad I haven't seen it. With my sensitive psyche, that type of thing is like a 10-year warranty for nightmares.
Does it have any meaning in Maya culture?
Not that I know of.
Well, somebody ought to know. You're surrounded by experts in Maya culture, for gosh sakes.
But maybe it doesn't mean anything at all. Maybe the thief just thinks it's glamorous.
Sure. I mean, who really wants anonymity after all? Thieves have to have style. Something to set them apart, right?
It's not just any old villain that gets a book deal these days.
I'll talk to you later, ladies.
We'll be waiting for an update.
Bye, Nancy.
Boswell, Jackson, and Rose, how may I direct your call?
This is Nancy Drew, calling for Franklin Rose, please.
Just a minute, please.
Nancy, to what do I owe the pleasure of this call?
I need to contact a woman named Prudence Rutherford. I noticed she's on the board of the Topeka Commission for the Arts, and that they've donated money to Beech Hill. Any idea how I might track her down?
Well, you're in luck. It so happens that Prudence and I sat on the panel of judges for the Kansas Speak No Evil Mime competition for 3 years in a row, back when I lived in Wichita. How's that for a small world?
You judged a mime competition?
Indeed I did. I haven't talked to Prudence in about 10 years. But let's see if I still have her in this old dinosaur of a Rolodex. Ah, yes, here we go. Got a pen? It's area code 785-555-7279. What's this all about?
I think Ms. Rutherford had a run-in with a red-handed thief, much like the one who took the Pacal carving.
Ha! You're a real pro, Nancy. Say, why don't I call ahead and let Prudence know what's going on? That way I can say hello, and she'll be expecting you.
Now I think you're reading my mind, Mr. Rose. Thanks.
Not a problem, dear.
Henrik!
Amnesia? Wow. Henrik must have taken a real nosedive off that pyramid.
Do you think he just fell, Nancy?
Or was he pushed?
Sounds like you need to find out about hospital visiting hours.
Yeah, but you'd better get the lowdown from Joanna first.
George is right. She is your supervisor, after all. Hello?
It's me again.
Nancy Drew, you will never guess who the cat just dragged in.
Who?
Frank and Joe Hardy.
You're kidding. I haven't talked to those two in months.
Let me tell you, they're as cute as ever. George and I were just telling them about your latest case, and, judging by the way they're hovering around me at the moment, I think they want to say hello.
Sure, put them on.
Hi, Nancy, it's Frank.
Frank Hardy, what in the world are you doing in River Heights?
Well, Joe and I just finished up a case out west, and we're taking a few days to drive back to Bayport. so we stopped in River Heights to say hello to our favorite girls.
Well, that's awfully sweet of you.
We should have known you'd be out there chasing trouble.
Joe, is that you?
The one and only. How's it going, Nancy?
Oh, just knee-deep in another case. You know the feeling.
Do we ever? There's one around every corner, isn't there?
You can say that again.
There's one around every corner, isn't there?
All right, Joe. Cheeky as ever, I see.
It's the secret of my irresistible charm.
Oh, brother. Listen, Nancy, we're taking off again tomorrow, but if you want to talk shop about this case, why don't you give us a call on the car phone? The number is 973-555-3393.
Sounds great. I'll do that.
Go get him, Nancy.
Good luck.
First the Pacal carving is stolen, and now my star glyph man bumps his head and forgets his own name? What's next, Nancy? Del Rio pulls the plug on the monolith, the board clams up on my funding, my mother posts my old prom pictures on the internet.
Take it easy, Joanna. I'm sure everything is going to be okay.
What I need from you right now is action, not commentary, Nancy. Will you follow up with the hospital and see if there's anything we can do to get Henrik's marbles back?
I'll call right away.
You can also pick up Henrik's mail if he gets any. Keep the lab in order and just try to help me keep the entire museum from going up in smoke.
I've got work to do.
Semper ubi sub ubi.
You have voicemail. Press Z.
This message is for Nancy Drew. Hi, Nancy. This is Nurse Bluefoot calling from Eleanor Roosevelt Memorial Hospital in regards to Henrik Vanderheun. I believe you're a colleague of his? Since Mr. Vanderheun was admitted, he has repeated your name several times in states of semi-consciousness. As we've been unable to contact any of his family members, we're hoping you might be willing to act as Henrik's support person as he begins the difficult process of restoring his memory. Please call me as soon as possible to discuss this. My direct line is 202-555-4000. Thank you.
To replay messages, press 0. Press 9 for an outside line.
This is Nurse Bluefoot.
Nurse Bluefoot, this is Nancy Drew. You left me a message regarding Henrik Vanderheun. How is he?
Nancy Drew? Oh, thank goodness. Oh, I'm so relieved. We've been unable to locate any family members, and we do like amnesia patients to have at least one personal support person when they begin reality orientation.
What's reality orientation?
Well, reality orientation is a kind of treatment that helps a patient get reacquainted with the facts and circumstances of his or her life. Henrik has not actually lost his memory. It's just that his brain is injured in such a way that he can't access the place where the memories are stored.
So, how does he regain access to the storage place?
Well, first, we do repetitive memory exercises to help Henrik relearn the basic facts, like his name and address, the name of his parakeet, if he has one, the date, and so on. Second, we try to stimulate Henrik's sensory memories in order to help trigger or find the way back to his cognitive memories.
What are sensory memories?
A sensory memory is like it sounds, something that is familiar, that you recognize by sight or touch, smell or sound or... Oh, what is that last one? Oh yes, taste. A cognitive memory is something that you know or remember intellectually. For example, how do you know the name of this planet? Somewhere along the way you learn that it's called Earth, and you just remember. But say you bump your head and forget the name of this planet. You don't know where in the solar system you're floating.
That would be most unfortunate.
Exactly. But then I show you a picture of our marvelous blue and green globe. Suddenly you remember. That glorious sight is Earth. I live on the planet Earth. This is how a sensory memory can trigger a cognitive or intellectual one.
What if the patient doesn't remember right away?
You can't help Henrik remember his childhood, but you can probably help him remember his work. And who knows where that will take him? All roads lead to Rome, as they say. One great tool is the Reality Orientation Board. This is a place to post information and pictures for the patient to look at over a period of time. You may want to bring in images or photos to place on the board. Things from the museum, perhaps.
I see. Well, I'll be happy to help in any way I can. When are visiting hours?
Visiting hours are 10 to 4 every day, if the patient is not engaged in treatment and if he seems stable.
Great. Is there anything else?
Just remember, Henrik's brain has been knocked around like a peanut in its shell. He may have attention difficulties, headaches, anxiety. Sometimes he may seem giddy, too. We need to keep these conditions in check. Don't push him too hard, or he may have some kind of meltdown.
Thanks for the warning, Nurse Bluefoot.
Be well.
You look familiar. Is it time for my snack?
Henrik, it's me, Nancy. You're looking very well. I'm here to help with your memory exercises so you can come back to Beech Hill as soon as possible.
Beech Hill?
Beech Hill is a museum here in Washington, D.C. The curator's name is Joanna Riggs. You were working there, and that's where your accident happened. Do you remember anything about the accident?
Joanna Riggs. Is that the woman who called to pick my brain for an access code?
Joanna called? What did you tell her?
Where in my poor banged-up head would I be keeping access codes? I don't even remember my own birthday. So if you're here to squeeze me for details, you're wasting your time.
According to Nurse Bluefoot, you haven't lost any data. Your brain just doesn't know how to locate certain things at the moment. We need to give it some clues.
How, pray tell, do you intend to do that?
I'll visit, we'll talk. Sometimes I'll bring you pictures.
Pictures? Well, isn't this nice?
Come on, Henrik. You'll feel much better once things start coming back to you. I've got a picture with me if you'd like to give it a try.
Fine, I'll do it.
Great. These are Maya glyphs, like the ones you used to translate. Now, don't be upset if you don't know how to read them anymore. I can tell you what they mean.
I know what they mean, dear. I wrote them.
Take it easy, Henrik. I know you're well-renowned in your field. You don't need to prove anything. The magician suffers yellow death. Do you think that's a curse?
Your translator is sloppy. I should know. I am the author of the original work.
You don't agree with the translation?
That first glyph is the fool, not the magician. Furthermore, any decent epigrapher knows those glyphs refer to the infamous plague of oozing hives. A fitting curse for a fool, don't you think?
I rather like it.
Henrik, this note was found at a crime scene. Are you telling me you left it there?
I don't remember.
The Pacal carving is priceless and irreplaceable. If you stole it, this is your opportunity to come clean and return it to the museum.
Who in the world is Pacal? Oh, my head. Oh, the pressure. I can't take any more today, Nancy.
Okay, it's time for some memory therapy. Nancy, could you come back tomorrow?
Any news?
I need a photo of the Pacal carving. Do you have one?
Joanna took the official print for her insurance claim, but I have a couple extras. Here you go. Keep up the good work.
Buenos dias.
Have you heard? Henrik Vanderheun fell off the pyramid at the museum. He's in the hospital with a mysterious head injury.
That is terrible news. I hope it's not too serious.
Do you know what cinnabar is?
The red powder that the Maya used? Sure, I know it. They use it at Beech Hill too, do they not?
Cinnabar was used to make the red handprint that was left at the scene of the Pacal theft.
What is your point?
I think Joanna may have been less than truthful with me.
Have you called the police?
I don't want to jump to conclusions.
Of course. Sister Joanna couldn't possibly be a thief now, could she?
I should get back to the museum.
Goodbye.
Well, look who it is.
Ready to do some memory work, Henrik? I brought you a picture. This will help you to remember.
That face. He's as familiar as my own feet.
Can you remember the last time you saw him?
Pacal! Nancy, this is the stolen carving, isn't it? And I'm the one who took it. I must have. But why? Oh, Pacal! What could I have meant by this?
If you're remembering correctly, this is a serious crime, Henrik. You've got to tell me why you did it.
I can't remember.
Easy, Henrik. The answers are in your head. You just need to find them.
It's still in the museum.
Are you sure, Henrik? Did you plan to sell the Pacal on the black market?
To protect him. I had to protect him. Oh, Pacal! Something is going on at that museum, a devious plot. I was the only one who could stand in the way.
Whose plot is this? Is it someone who's involved with the museum?
Forgive me, Nancy, but when I woke up in this hospital bed, I didn't even know my own name. Perhaps the only thing I can offer you is this key. It was found in one of my pockets when I was brought in.
Do you know what lock it belongs to?
I haven't a clue. Take the key now, Nancy. Find out what it opens and return to me, please, with some answers.
We'll get to the bottom of this, I promise.
In the meantime, I'll sit with my friend Pacal and see if he will tell me anything new. You must keep this to yourself for now. It's your only hope of getting to the bottom of this.
Do you know anything about the theft of Prudence Rutherford's necklace?
I can't remember.
Did you use Joanna's name last week to place an order for cinnabar with Keep It Real Restoration?
You're asking the wrong amnesiac.
Do you have anything against Joanna?
Who knows?
You rest up. I'll be back.
I'll do my best.
Looks like I need to find someone who speaks Nahuatl.
You have voicemail.
Nancy, it's Joanna. The police are done giving me the 3rd degree, but now the board has suspended me. To make a long story short, I'm forbidden to set foot in the museum. Could you please call Franklin Rose and try to reason with him? If we don't get a move on, this exhibit is going straight down the tubes.
To replay messages, press 0. Press 9.
Boswell, Jackson, and Rose, how may I direct your call?
This is Nancy Drew, calling for Franklin Rose, please.
Just a minute, please.
Nancy, you must be psychic. I was just getting ready to call you myself.
Oh, really? Why?
I feel I should apologize for the situation that's going on at the museum, dear. I really did think we were setting you up with a nice little internship, a breather from your casework, but instead it looks like we've fed you to the lions.
Don't worry, I'm used to it by now. And after all, this situation is no more treacherous than my recent attempt at a ski vacation in Wisconsin. Anyway, about Beech Hill.
I think I know what you're going to say, Nancy. Let me be frank. Joanna Riggs has been in the doghouse with the board for months. Her thirst for acclaim has led her to gamble the future and the reputation of Beech Hill time and again. Now that we've lost the Pacal carving, one of our most notable pieces, well, she's just got to be stopped.
But with Henrik in the hospital and Joanna suspended, how can we possibly get this exhibit off the ground?
Leave that to me. We'll postpone the opening if we have to. Look, I've got a client waiting, Nancy. What we need now is for you to take up the slack. I've spoken to the rest of the board, and we've agreed that the best thing is to put you in charge.
Oh, Mr. Rose, I'm not qualified to be a curator. I don't have the experience.
Maybe not, but you are the best qualified detective I know, which is just what we need right now. We're counting on you to catch this thief red-handed. Ha ha. Just kidding, kiddo. If you can get the Pacal back, we'll see about giving Ms. Riggs another chance. That seems fair, doesn't it?
It's a deal, Mr. Rose.
Bye, kiddo.
Chaco Canyon Cultural Center.
Hi, I'm hoping to speak to someone about the theft that happened there recently.
Are you the press?
No, I'm a detective investigating a similar crime in Washington, D.C.
This is Sheila Schultz, the director. What would you like to know?
My name is Nancy Drew. I'm calling from the Beech Hill Museum in Washington, D.C. I understand you had some rare Maya artifacts stolen recently.
That's right. It's a terrible loss, and the police here have no leads.
Beech Hill was robbed, too. We lost one of our prized jade carvings.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
I'm wondering if the robberies are connected. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about the incident at Chaco Canyon?
Fire away.
I heard the thief left a red handprint at the scene of the crime. Is that true?
Yes. It was very gruesome. It looked like blood, but according to the police analysis, the print was made with a mercuric sulfide paste.
Do you know of any symbolic meaning attached to a red hand?
Don't walk, don't go there, talk to the hand, as my 15-year-old would say? Really, I haven't the slightest idea.
What types of artifacts did the thief get away with?
Only the center's most prized pieces. The case contained 5 pre-Columbian artifacts that were excavated right from this area.
Do you have a list of the stolen pieces?
I know those pieces like the back of my hand. There were 3 pottery pieces, a small stone figurine with a snake head, and an ornamental jade carving.
I'm interested in the jade carving. What did it look like?
It was highly unusual. There was a glyph on it that no one could translate. Until we hired Henrik Vanderheun, that is. His opinion was that it's Mayan in origin, and that it may have been a place name glyph for this area. As you can imagine, we regarded it as something of a regional treasure.
Do you know that Henrik Vanderheun works for Beech Hill now?
Yes, I know. His departure was a great loss for us.
Why didn't you mention the connection when I told you I was from Beech Hill?
I guess it didn't seem important.
Was Henrik still working at Chaco Canyon when the theft occurred?
No. It happened just a few days after he left. I remember because after the police left, the staff and I were so depressed, we went into the lounge and pigged out on the rest of Henrik's farewell cake.
Was Henrik on good terms with Chaco Canyon when he left?
Well, it was awfully abrupt. As soon as he heard about that monolith, boom, he was gone. For some reason, he just had to go study it. We weren't exactly happy about it, but it's not like quitting is against the law.
Do you recall having some appraisal work done by an art dealer by the name of Taylor Sinclair?
How could I forget? He went on and on about the impossibly rare artifacts he could get for us. I said, "Are you an art dealer or a smuggler?" But he assured me that the provenance documents would all be in order. Still, I never did any further business with him. He just seemed slippery.
Could you send me a photo of that jade carving so I can take a look at the glyph?
I'm afraid I sent our only print off to the insurance company. They said they'd return it, but who knows when our claim will be processed. I'm sorry.
Thanks a million, Sheila.
Feel free to call if you have any more questions.
Buenos dias.
Have you heard? The police received an anonymous tip, and they're considering Joanna a prime suspect in the Pacal theft. They've taken her in for questioning.
I called in that tip. She lied about the cinnabar, and you may not know this, but she has jeopardized the museum's finances with all of her wheeling and dealing. Why should she not be questioned?
How did she jeopardize museum finances?
I am not at liberty to say.
I need to know the Nahuatl word for snake. Can you help me?
What do you need that word for?
I'd rather not say. It's part of my investigation.
Now, if only I could remember the word for snake. I hear you have been a great help to Henrik. I wonder if you can help me improve my memory too.
What are you talking about, Alejandro?
I am almost certain that the provenance documents for the Pacal carving were falsified. I have asked Joanna to see the documents, but she evades me. If you can find that file in her office and bring it to me, I think it might help my memory of Nahuatl a lot.
What makes you think they were falsified?
In Mexico, it is common knowledge that the carving was stolen from Pacal's tomb when it was first excavated. But no one has been able to prove it. If I can determine that the provenance documents are a fraud, this will be the first major step toward legal repatriation of the artwork, whenever and wherever it resurfaces.
Okay, Alejandro. I'll see what I can do.
I feel my Nahuatl coming back to me already. Do you know what Sihuapili means? Princess or lady. Now, if only I could remember the word for snake.
I should get back to the museum.
Adios, Nancy.
What should I post here?
Hello, Nancy. You have a special delivery for me, I hope?
Promise me that you'll take good care of these documents.
Good work, my friend. I suppose you would like something in return?
I trust your Nahuatl has become fluent again.
The Nahuatl word for snake is coatl. C-O-A-T-L.
Muchas gracias. Gotta go.
Adios, Nancy.
Nancy, you have brought me back to my work.
You recognize the riddle then?
I've been working like a fiend. Look at the board.
There's Henrik's password.
This has something to do with the plot at the museum, Nancy. I'm sure of it.
Who is this whisperer of silent secrets?
The whisperer came from a distinguished line of royal scribes. I can't seem to remember her name. but I do recall that she wrote an account of Maya history that greatly angered Pacal because of the way it depicted his ascent to the throne.
How did Pacal wish to be depicted?
From the age of 12, when he came to the throne, Pacal claimed to be divinely appointed the first true authentic king of the Maya. Then the Whisperer came along and wrote that Pacal was only king because his mother pulled some strings. It was quite a blow to Pacal's image.
So he put her in a stone prison?
Pacal swore that the Whisperer's words would never see the light of day. He put her body, her soul, and her writings all in a tomb and locked it up tight.
Wait, Henrik, a prison of stone? We're not talking about the monolith, are we?
That's the idea.
Does anyone else know about this?
Good question. I'm certain that there's a dirty rat trying to get into that tomb. This is where my memory fizzles out. If I could only figure out why I took the Pacal.
Do you think there is anyone I can trust?
Please don't breathe a word of this. There's too much at stake.
One of the pieces that was stolen from the Chaco Canyon Cultural Center was a jade carving with an unusual glyph on it. Do you remember translating it?
I can't remember.
Have you ever been part of a smuggling racket?
I don't know.
Can you tell me what the password is to your disk?
You're asking the wrong amnesiac.
You rest up. I'll be back.
Be careful.
Frank and Joe Hardy, taking the mist out of mystery. Joe here.
That's pretty cute, Joe. Can you come up with a slogan for me, too?
Hey, Nancy. Hold on while I put you on speakerphone. You still there?
Yep.
Hi, Nancy. You got access to both of our brilliant minds now. So how's the case coming along?
I'm sort of stumped by the riddle that Henrik translated from the monolith.
Nancy Drew stumped? I find that hard to believe. What's the problem?
Well, it seems like opening the tomb and breaking the curse are the same thing.
Oh, sure, but how does a person pull that off?
It has something to do with putting these 6 keys together. But there's this other part that says, when the first king, that's Pacal, ascends the throne again.
I hate to say it, but isn't it a little late for that guy? I mean, hasn't it been like 1,500 years? You just don't jump back on the throne after a hiatus like that.
You're being too literal, Joe. It must have something to do with a date, don't you think, Nancy? I mean, when did Pacal ascend the throne the first time around?
I don't know off the top of my head, but the information must be in the museum somewhere.
I'm gonna say June. Sometime in June. That's the traditional month for throne ascensions, isn't it?
First of all, kid brother, June is the traditional month for weddings. And second, the date is not going to be in our Gregorian calendar. It's going to be a date on the Maya calendar, which has a whole different structure.
Frank, you are my #1 favorite know-it-all.
I need to contact people at a dig in Honduras by ham radio. I think they might be smugglers.
Well, ham radio is one of the tools of choice in the smuggling business.
Nancy, I bet you'll get to talk to them on Morse code, too. Dot, dash, dot, dot, dash. It's like being a spy. And we all know the only thing better than being a detective is being a spy.
Well, doing business with smugglers is not exactly my idea of fun, but I don't have much choice.
What do you need from them?
They've got one of the artifacts I need to solve this case. I'm going to use Henrik's code words to get them to send it to me.
Cool.
Talk to you later, fellas.
Later, Nancy.
Bye.
Yes, hello?
Hi, this is Nancy Drew, calling from Washington, D.C. I'm trying to reach Prudence Rutherford, please.
Oh, yes, Franklin told me you'd be calling. Such dreadful news about Beech Hill. I will do everything in my power to help you catch those rapscallions. To think how they violated the sanctity of my domicile. Good heavens!
I'm sorry to hear about your loss. What can you tell me about the necklace?
I can't even think about it. Oh, just the very thought of my precious necklace gone, stranded, orphaned, and in the hands of some dirty stranger makes my blood boil.
Was the necklace a gift?
I inherited it from my mother-in-law. But you see, the necklace means much more to me than just a handful of priceless rubies.
More? In what way?
I had the necklace restrung to include an exquisite jade carving as the centerpiece, a genuine artifact of the ancient Maya. The carving is not only one of a kind, but a Rutherford family heirloom given to me by my great-grandfather when I was just a little girl.
What does the jade piece look like?
It features a rare glyph. No one's been able to give me a precise translation, but most epigraphers have agreed that it has something to do with a snake, the color green, and the direction south. It's terribly fascinating.
About the theft, where were you when it took place?
At 3 a.m.? Well, I was home, of course. Lost in sweet slumber. I don't grace the social circuit the way I used to. That brazen fiend crept right into the bedroom and took my necklace away. Where was I? Picking peaches in the fruit-laden orchards of my dreams. I feel like such a fool.
Was anything else taken besides the necklace?
Nothing. Not even my brand new Dada. Synesthetic, interactive, organic journey? Ha! I always knew Dada was overrated. One moment, dear. Off! Off the sofa, you nasty beast! Now! What are you doing? What did I say about the sofa? Bad, bad, naughty bad! I'm sorry, dear. What was I saying?
About the theft.
Oh, yes! Oh, they must have known. The rest of my valuables were left untouched. Frankly, I don't know whether to be grateful or insulted.
What about evidence?
The first thing I saw when I opened my eyes was this positively ghoulish red handprint on the wall. I nearly jumped out of my skin.
A red handprint was left at the scene of the crime at Beech Hill, too. Ms. Rutherford, I'm almost certain that these robberies were committed by the same person.
But why? What is so special about these carvings?
Miss Rutherford, it would be so helpful if I knew exactly what your carving looked like. Could you send me a picture that shows it in detail?
I can do better than a photo. The insurance company made this dreadful replica of the necklace with the idea that I would wear such a thing to public functions. Please. But I could send that to you if you'd like.
Oh, that would be wonderful. How soon could you have it here?
You'll have it tomorrow or the next day. My secretary will have the address of the museum. Now, if that is all you would require, young lady, I will need to attend to other pressing matters.
Thanks a million, Miss Rutherford. I won't let you down.
Call me Prudence. Oh, and Nancy, when you find the villains who did this to me, do me a favor and give them a sound thrashing.
You're coming through loud and clear. Bye. The radio tube went out. I should put in my temple key card. I wonder if Henrik would remember the answer.
Hello?
It's me again.
Hey, Nancy. What's the latest, Nan?
After the board caught wind about the police interrogating Joanna, they suspended her.
But Joanna didn't take the Pacal.
I tried to suggest that to Franklin Rose without betraying Henrik's confidence, but he's not interested in cutting Joanna any slack.
So what? She's history?
Mr. Rose said that if the Pacal carving is recovered, he'll reconsider.
Well, that's just one more reason you've got to find that carving.
Yeah. Joanna's ambitions may be a little misguided at times, but she shouldn't have to take the fall for Henrik.
Plus which, her presence at the museum may be one of the crucial ingredients to solving this case.
I'll talk to you later, ladies.
We'll be waiting for an update.
Bye, Nancy.
This is Joe.
Hey, Joe, it's Nancy.
Hey, Nancy. I've got that slogan for you. Are you ready?
Of course.
Nancy Drew, the ace in every case.
Catchy. I'll make a real impression on my suspects with that line.
How's the case going?
Talk to you later, fellas.
Later, Nancy.
Bye.
Hello.
I should get back to the museum.
Adios, Nancy. Good afternoon, young lady.
This is a long shot, but do you know what animal Pacal was afraid of?
You're asking the wrong amnesiac.
Henrik, I received a note from your friends in Copan. I've got the Copan Fool key. I still need the Pacal, though. How's your memory?
The tomb. Nancy, I hid the Pacal carving in the replica of the Pacal tomb at the bottom of the temple exhibit. Now how did I think of that? And another thing, you'll need to get past that computer quiz. Sonny set it up with an impossible question. No one knows what Pacal was afraid of, but Sonny was petrified of the Coatamundi. It's an ornery bandit with a narrow snout and a long ringed tail, much like a raccoon or a polecat.
According to your notes, Pacal made a 6-part key to the Whisperer's tomb and scattered the pieces around the world. Do you remember anything about this?
6 keys? 6 keys? 6 keys! Nancy, what are the 4 corners of the world? North, south, east, and west. Plus the first king, Pacal himself, and the Copan Fool. When they're all assembled, they open the tomb. Don't you see? This is why I stole the Pacal, to prevent some other schemer from putting the key together.
Do you think I should alert the police?
You must keep this to yourself for now. It's your only hope of getting to the bottom of this.
You rest up. I'll be back.
I'll do my best.
You have no voicemail. Press 9 for an out.
Boswell, Jackson, and Rose.
May I speak to Franklin Rose, please?
Who may I say is calling?
This is Nancy Drew.
Just a minute, please.
Nancy, how's your investigation coming along?
I'm making good progress, and the Pacal carving is safe and sound. But I'm afraid I can't tell you everything yet.
What in the world are you talking about?
I'm sorry, but I can't explain everything now. I'll take good care of the carving, I promise.
What can I say, Nancy? I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Do what you have to do, but let's get this mess cleaned up, all right?
So you'll call Joanna and invite her back to work?
I'll call her right away.
Thanks, Mr. Rose.
That's what I'm here for.
Thanks for clearing my name, Nancy. Honestly, I mean, what kind of moron would I be to try and ruin my own exhibit? Anyway, we need to make up for lost time. I need you to go to the storeroom and start unpacking some of those crates. One of the pieces has a fancy security device on it. The code is 0677.
Sure thing, Joanna. I'll see you later.
Semper ubi sub ubi.
Chaco Canyon Cultural Center.
Hi, this is Nancy Drew calling.
Hi, Nancy. It's Sheila. What can I do for you?
I've just got to get my hands on a replica of that jade carving you lost. Do you have any ideas?
Not off the top of my head, but maybe one of my staff will have a bright idea. I need some time to ask around. Can you call back later?
Sure thing.
Feel free to call if you have any more questions.
Any news?
There was an incident at the museum. Henrik is in the hospital with a head injury.
Poor Henrik. Another squabble between him and Joanna, perhaps? Oh, I'm kidding, but I do remember the time she threatened to push him in the pond. Temper, temper, I'm always telling her.
I'd better get going.
See you around.
Daddle residence.
Hi, may I speak to Henry Daddle, please?
Speaking.
Mr. Daddle, my name is Nancy Drew. This is a long shot, but I'm calling regarding a Maya artifact that was bought at auction in 1898 by one Henry Albert Daddle. Does that ring any bells?
Sure. Henry Albert Daddle Sr. was my great-grandfather. You're talking about the jade carving, right?
Yes, exactly. Wow, I can't believe my luck.
Well, it's a lucky life if you ask me. So what can I do for you?
I'm wondering if the artifact is still in the family.
Forgive me, Miss Drew. Who are you exactly?
I'm the deputy curator at Beech Hill Museum in Washington, D.C. I'm doing some research on jade carvings of the ancient Maya.
I see. Well, I was the last to inherit the carving, but my daughter Penelope was so intrigued with it that I gave it to her. I'm sure she'd be happy to talk to you about it. Why don't you give her a call on her line? It's 555-3197.
Will do. Thanks, Mr. Daddle.
My pleasure.
Hello?
Hi, is this Penelope?
Not even.
Oh, is this 605-555-3197?
Yeah, but no one calls me Penelope anymore. Except my parents, that is. To my friends, the art world, and anyone else who made it out of the 20th century, I'm Poppy.
The art world? Wait, you're not Poppy Dada, are you?
Ta-da! Ping ping! You win! Who's this?
My name's Nancy Drew. I'm a detective.
A detective? No way! So do you get to wear a sassy tweed hat and pick hairs off dead bodies and gross, creepy stuff like that?
Actually, I try to keep a low profile, and a tweed hat, well, it's a little conspicuous.
So, where'd you get my name? Don't tell me I'm like wanted by the FBI or something. That would be too scandalous.
Not quite. Taylor Sinclair told me about you. I saw one of your paintings in his office, here in Washington, D.C.
So, how do you know Big Bunny Sinclair?
Taylor and I are both affiliated with Beech Hill Museum, also in D.C.
Has Taylor been pushing those Oaxacan cookies on you? You haven't eaten one, have you?
So far, I've managed to politely decline. I take it you advise against them?
Let's put it this way. His trip to Oaxaca was about 2 years ago, and he's been trying to move those rancid, lard biscuits ever since.
Aha! My suspicions are confirmed. I'll put that in my case notes.
That's hot. What's a case? Are there dead bodies involved? Do you need to, tap my phone or impersonate me or something?
Someone is stealing Maya antiquities, jade carvings to be exact, and leaving this scary red handprint at the scene of every crime.
Ghastly. So, what's with the red hand?
It seems like some kind of threat, but to whom? And what is this thief really after? It's more than money, I'm sure of it.
Drama. So, where do the daddles come in?
I got a tip that your great-great-grandfather bought a jade carving much like the ones that are being stolen. I'm hoping to take a look at it.
You mean that ancient green rock with the weird symbol on it? I slapped some shoe polish on it and stuck it in one of my paintings.
You're kidding. That's a one-of-a-kind Maya artifact, a piece of history. It's hundreds of years old. It's worth a lot of money.
That's the whole point. Have you heard the saying that a work of art is never finished, just abandoned? Well, I'm taking that idea to the limit by making art that will keep changing as different people encounter, perceive, and interact with it. I'm tired of artwork that says, "Don't touch." I'm all about letting go, about sending my work into the world and seeing how it continues to become. Don't you see? It's an organic process. I mean, how can people really relate to art if it doesn't come to life and grow and die, just like they do? That carving is part of something bigger now.
I can't imagine your dad would be very pleased about this. Does he know?
Oh, Nancy, don't be such a prude. Taylor's probably still got that artwork. At least, I don't think he sold it yet. Why don't you ask him? Tell him you want to see the piece called Deadly Midnight Snack. It's the one with the rubber shark.
The one with the rubber shark. Yes, I've seen it. but I didn't notice any jade carving.
Well, take a closer look there, sweets. It's in there. If you really need the carving to crack this case, why don't you just go ahead and take it?
But wouldn't it ruin your painting?
Of course not. After all, this is a chance to enact exactly what I've been talking about, the organic process, inviting my viewers to interact with my work. The deal is, you can take the carving, but you have to put something in its place.
Something in its place? Like what? An old shoe? A subway token? A movie stub?
No, it should be something more organic. Stay with the title, Deadly Midnight Snack. And don't be afraid to go way out. As an artist, I can tell you that inspiration bites in the most mysterious ways.
Okay, Poppy, if you say so.
Right on. But let's keep Taylor out of this. He'd probably blow a gasket if he saw you tampering with the merchandise. That's all art is to him, you know. Merchandise.
I'll make sure he doesn't detect a thing.
Good luck, Nancy.
Thanks, Poppy. Bye.
Any news?
Mind if I help myself to one of those scrumptious-looking Oaxacan cookies?
Be my guest. Any news?
May I take a closer look at that wacky Dada painting?
Be my guest. I just had a call from Poppy this morning. She says she's in a really creative period right now. I said, please, sweetie, if you get any more creative, they're going to lock you up.
Pardon me a moment, Nancy. I'll be right back. I hope.
Poppy said to replace it with something organic.
Chaco Canyon Cultural Center.
Hi, this is Nancy Drew calling.
Hi, Nancy. It's Sheila. Well, we racked our brains. Finally, one of my staff came up with the original box that the carving was packed in. The piece was encased in a tight foam cast to prevent damage during shipping. I'm not sure how much good it'll do you, but I can send it to you if you like.
That just might work.
Henrik left Beech Hill as his forwarding address, so I know what to do. I'll send it express.
Thanks a million, Sheila.
Good luck with your investigation.
I bet I can make a mold from this foam core. According to Henrik's notes, I need to make a key out of these pieces. Now I have the key. Wow, I'm not sure I can hold on to these stones for very much longer. I've got to put these things down. The poem said, when the first king ascends again. This side looks damaged. I'll have to choose which side of the cube goes here. Nothing happened. Interesting. I've already solved this part. This should be the last step. I wonder what's inside. It's blank.
Who's your friend, Nancy? Boo.
Taylor Sinclair.
Who'd you expect, the Tooth Fairy? Looks like someone forgot her beauty cream. I guess we can't all age gracefully.
I'm sure she would say the same about you.
You've been a top-notch assistant, Nancy, but I'm afraid you're just not going to make it in the art world.
Why are you doing this?
Nancy, do you have any idea what that book contains?
Help me out, Sinclair. I'm drawing a blank.
The Whisperer's writings are the only known personal account of Maya life, the only written glimpse into Pacal's time anywhere. Do you know what I can get for that thing on the black market?
You have no right to do this. The book is not yours to sell.
Simple economics suggest otherwise. And I am the art dealer.
This tomb and all of its contents belong to Mexico.
Finders keepers, I say. Nobody even realizes this thing has any contents. Won't they get a surprise when they finally open it up and find that it contains a 7th century scribe and a 21st century detective? Adios, Nancy.
I'm starting to run out of air in here. This may be the scribe. I gotta get out of here.
Behold! Our heroine emerges from the tomb, like a mermaid from the sea.
Meanwhile, the foolish villain stews in the sour soup of his own miscalculation.
From deep in the recesses of time, a wise royal scribe whispers her thanks.
And a priceless chapter of history is rescued from obscurity. Way to go, Nancy!
What in the world? Ah! Confound you, Nancy Drew!
Dear Dad, it was great to talk to you on the phone last night. I can't wait to see you back in River Heights where I can fill you in on the whole story. Can you believe that your own daughter was recently standing face to face with a real mummy? Now that the scribe's book has been recovered, I understand how important it is and why Taylor thought he could make a fortune selling it on the black market. The book contains one of the only personal accounts of Maya life and existence anywhere. I'm sure it'll be a tremendous addition to our knowledge of the Maya once it's translated, that is. And now that Henrik's memory is back up to speed again, I'm sure he'll be itching to get to work on it. Taylor Sinclair won't be making any art deals for a long time, though, that's for sure. I guess I shouldn't be surprised about Alejandro's discovery that the Pacal carving's provenance documents were faked after all. When Franklin Rose and the board found out, they arranged to return the artifact to Mexico right away. Mexican officials are so happy to have the artifact back, they have pledged a new era of diplomatic relations with Beech Hill. Joanna sure learned her lesson about making deals with shady operators like Taylor. The board has agreed to give her another chance as long as she reforms her business tactics. And what else? Oh yes, Poppy Dada's announced a new direction in her artwork. All her new paintings are going to feature, what else? Mysterious red handprints. So I guess everyone is taking off in new directions now. I'm going to stay and help this exhibit get launched. But I'll see you back at home in a couple of weeks. Have a safe trip home. Love, Nancy.
Dear Nancy, Bess and George told me you're on a case in D.C. I hope everything is working out for you. I wish I could say the same for me. I'm planning on living here, but there's been some trouble. I think someone or something doesn't want me here. Please, Nancy, I'm afraid I can't stay here very much longer. I know you're busy, but I'm desperate. I need you to come out and investigate. Please say you will. Your friend, Sally.